Welcome to the New Economy. What's next? My guest today is Miss Ingrid Riley, and we're going to be talking about blockchain technologies and some of the stuff that is going on the internet that is very techy, but we're going to try and explain it, bring it down to earth so that you guys can understand what we're talking about. So stay tuned. Welcome to the show. Welcome. When you invited me to speak at the blockchain crypto.
Just carbon money, yes.
Yes. So I'm really glad that you're on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's good to see you again.
Yes. So why don't you first start off by telling the guests what it is that you do, and then we'll get the conversation going from there.
Well, let me kick it off by saying I've been doing this for 15 years, and what I've been doing as founder of Silicon Carib, it's our 15th year. Actually, February 28th is our 15th anniversary of Silicon Carib. And pretty much I've been, in my previous life, I was a journalist, as an investigative reporter. And then my family was one of the first owners of an internet service provider called Jamaica Online. And so, I was in cool rooms with modems and learning all this thing. And of course, we had, access to the internet and computers at home early. So I fell in love with the internet and fell hard. And so I've been doing a bunch of different things, working for American startups, working on internet guide. We did the first carbon internet guide and did digital marketing agency. But this particular thing called siliconcarib.com, a blog, led me to a whole bunch of different things. It led to a movement. It led to, digital, media and events platform that's focused on its mission. And the mission that we've been on for the past 15 years is, one, to amplify the people, the businesses, and the ideas in the region that are taking technology and doing amazing things with it that is impacting their local economy as well as the regional economy and the global economy. And then secondly, educating and inspiring the next generation of entrepreneurs and innovators. So that's pretty much what we do. We blog, we podcast. We are the leading producer of carbon technology events. We've done over 300 across 10 Caribbean countries. And of course, we do a lot of consulting as well.
And why don't you go into kind of like how many subscribers and people are following you? Because as you said, you've been at this quite a while.
This is kind of wild. In terms of, in terms of numbers, Silicon Carib, siliconcarib.com, the blog, if you Google anything called carbon tech or carbon tech news or carbon startups or my name, it'll come up within the top 3 or 5 things. And that's been consistent for the past 15 years. Or blog or subscriber base in terms of our email is a little bit over 20,000.
That's still pretty good.
It's not bad. I could have been more. We could have been more aggressive, but we'll get that. We'll start. This year.
No, considering for most people, a computer is just a magical box that sits on the desk that allows you to watch YouTube. It's
so much more than that.
So much more than that. I'm just being a little facetious, but it's important that you have this, what you guys have created with the Silicon Carib and the access, because oftentimes, especially in these small island nations, we kind of feel like, the lone person in the wilderness, right? Am I crazy to believe in all this tech stuff? But no, there's a movement of it.
Absolutely, and we saw that because while I was doing our interactive agency, my business partner Suzanne Leake, we were the first bunch of women that were leading an interactive agency back in 2004, right? And she says, people keep coming to you in terms of asking you what's going on in the industry, but also sharing what was going on in the industry. Why don't you start a blog? And that led to Silicon Carib. But then I was like, I'm an extrovert. I like to bring people together. Plus I have a past that I used to be a party promoter. I used to put on a whole bunch of parties, right? That's a whole other life.
It's starting to make a lot of sense.
And so let's meet, have some people come and meet up. So that's when Kingston Beta was launched. And that was a simply, let's meet up with some people and see what they're doing here, what we're doing. And it became a thing. The first one, we had our friend of ours who flew in from St. Kitts, and we had another guy, a Jamaican guy who was in Hong Kong because his startup was recruited by these investors there. And then we had like 90 people turn up at this hotel and talk about what they're doing online, what they're seeing, and it just became a thing. And we ran that event for 11 years, and it just blossomed across the region. It blossomed to Caribbean Beta, it blossomed and everything. And it was just simply because we were selfish. We wanted to see who else was doing it. We know we weren't alone. We wanted to learn. We wanted to see what other people were doing. And yeah, that's pretty much how we just kept it going.
And the reason I'm drawing this out from you is because what people don't realize is this whole thing that's been around now for 20 plus years called the 25 internet.
Years, this thing called the internet.
Yeah, allows you to do this. And now that people are used to, like, we're doing this show over Zoom, we're used to not even being in the same room. It almost even allows you to grow even more.
Absolutely.
Bring more people into your community.
Absolutely.
And so for folks at home, if you're an aspiring business person or interested in growing your existing business, you can use these technologies to expand your community. Because that's what you guys have built, is a community.
Absolutely. We built a community that just kind of, and the thing that we wanted for Kingston Beta is that we wanted, established entrepreneurs who knew what they're doing and doing some really amazing things, but also people who were curious, people who heard about it, maybe had an idea, whatever it is, to come and pitch whatever it is their ideas. And it was a safe space. It was a non-judgmental learning, but we're very, when we tell them, like, nah, son, that idea, no, go back to sleep and come back again the next time, or hey, okay, Chica, that's a winning idea. Now, how are you going to move it? Maybe we should introduce you to somebody else to help you.
I invited you on the show, and we wanted to talk about, some of the tech stuff, but it's this community is what's, I think, is a better thing to talk about, because that's how business is done. Every industry is done through groups of people networking, trying to figure out how to monetize this stuff. And I think that is what you're giving people is an insight into what it really takes to build industry. Industry isn't just.
It's all about relationships. You remember when, I don't know if it was you, when I always keep telling you things like, oh, the stock market is not emotional. And I was like, but it's all people. Oh, and business is not personal, it's just business. I was like, but it's all about relationships. And one of the books that changed.
By the way, those folks that say it's just business, most of them, as soon as a new competitor or a new entrant enters the market, that new entrant eats their lunch, because because it's not about treating people terribly because they have to come to you. It's about relationships.
Exactly.
I want to buy from people that treat me well.
That's correct.
That's business 101, not because you have some monopoly.
Exactly. Or as what's his face? Oh my God, he brought. I should remember this offhand because it was a book that changed my life. Always start with why.
Is that Simon Sinek?
Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
That book and that video completely changed. And he says too, only do business with people who believe what you believe. Yeah. And it challenged me. I was like, can you though and still be successful? Can you be who you are, be about the mission, still, yes, of course, be about wealth as well. And
it has to make money. I mean, that's the purpose
of business as well.
Yeah, but what type of money? Do you want to add value to people's lives, or do you want to take from people? And I don't,
Exactly.
I think in the modern world, there's so much good money out there. Why would you focus on that little bit
I agree.
of bad money where you're taking?
I
So
I
it's,
completely agree. Completely agree. So
I
yeah,
mean,
so that's
we're, and I think one of the reasons that I'm fascinated with tech is
yeah.
because technology is mostly services. And in
Mm,
service-based businesses, you have to treat people well, otherwise they're just going to go somewhere else.
absolutely.
There's no, it really is that simple. Treat people
Yeah.
well, find out what they need,
Yeah.
and then work like hell to get them what they want.
Absolutely. As
So
they say, he who knows their customers the best always win, right? And so that it
yeah,
is,
yeah,
it really is that simple. It really is that simple.
so we're going to cut to a commercial break real quick,
Okay.
and then we're going to come back and we're going to dive into a little bit more into who you are. I know you brushed on it briefly,
Okay.
and then we'll talk about some other stuff. So stay
Cool.
tuned.
All right.
Hi, I'm D.R.C. Ramming, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Arawak X. Arawak X is a fully regulated securities exchange in the Bahamas. We are the financial gateway to the Caribbean. We match investors with startups and high-growth companies over the internet. Come talk to us at Arawak X to learn more about our diverse portfolio.
So we're back. We're talking about the business of technology and all of these new emerging techs, without even talking about the technology itself. We haven't talked about that at all. So why don't we start with a little bit more about who you are? I know you said you're a journalist. You've been surrounded by technology your whole life. How is that kind of those experiences kind of translated into what you do now?
It's amplified. I think the skills that that made me, go into media in the first place. I've always been the big believer that the right information to the right people at the right time can make amazing things happen. And that's one of the things that led me into journalism, which was, to always be asking questions, asking why. Because my mother always told me that, Jesus, she says, you're so annoying, but I understand it now that, she'd tell me something and I'd look and go, why though? Like, why? 5 years old and asking why, instead of just simply saying, okay. And I was like, no, why? And so that led into my media, where I was always questioning things, always, challenging the status quo, curious about things. And I think technology allowed me to amplify and to follow my curiosity a lot more.
And
that's why I spend way too much time on the internet. And that's why I have too many pairs of these.
Well, you touched on another point that I think is interesting, is that how the tools of the modern, internet and the power of them are able to really amplify what you're doing at basically no cost. I mean, it's negligible cost, I should say.
But it also is, it comes to what exactly are you choosing? Because you can be online for hours and hours and hours, and all you do is looking at other people's lives and just simply wasting time and feeling bad about yourself or whatever it is. Or you can simply choose that time that you have access to this beautiful thing called the internet and learn and connect.
It's a hugely powerful library, isn't it?
It is.
You can literally find anything.
It's how you choose to engage, because access is great. But I think that's one of the things that led me to actually doing that first internet guide, because people were saying, but what is this internet thing, and what is on there? What can we do? And it was curating an experience for people to say, hey, these are the companies that are aligned. These are where you can go and do this. And I still think some of that is needed, because it's sometimes, I think, too much. And so
Oh,
people don't know where to begin, or
well, let's just take the first set of lockdowns when we were all, now our societies have kind of opened back up, but there was that time for about 3 months where we were all sitting at home. And I think every single person probably watching this show, I can say myself included, fell down a rabbit hole on the internet or two. You know, so it's and in a lot of different areas. So it's it's an insanely powerful tool, but you have to manage it, your access to it.
You have to know what you're choosing with that. And so it's and for me, I just kind of nerded out and continue to embrace my nerddom. I read a lot. I connect the dots. I like to spot trends early. You know, and see how I can maybe explain that and communicate that to others or exploit it myself.
So let's now talk about the big trend in financial technology. The reason I asked you on the show in the first place. What's with all this crypto stuff? You know, people seeing all of these NFTs, all of this stuff. You know, for people that are seeing these things and have no idea what they are.
Yeah.
Let's start there. What is this?
You know, here's the thing. Bitcoin was 13 years old sometime this month, right? Mr. Satoshi Nakamoto, or whether it's a person or a group, we still don't know, created this, what in essence is a refreshed global financial system that at its essence is supposed to democratize access to financials, supposed to make it easier to do business with each other, with people across the world, and to do so with minimal cost, minimal time as well. And there are, of course, a whole bunch of layers. So
it's a beautiful idea. I mean, like we at our Arawak are adopting many of those things into our model. Obviously, we can't do the whole unregulated thing. But those are some beautiful ideas. Anyway, carry on.
It is. And so when I first heard about it, like I think maybe around 7-8 years ago, when Bitcoin was at 25, and then I heard again at 100, I was like, at the time I was too busy. I did not take the time like I did 3 years ago to go down a rabbit hole. And so I'm still learning. I'm still learning about this blockchain that is this new layer of technology that's going to enable a whole bunch of different things. I'm very much into crypto I see all of yours. When you go to a crypto exchange and you see those hundreds of coins and tokens, I look at them as startups, because I then go and do my research in terms of why were they started in the first place? What are they set up to, to solve? Who is behind them? Who is backing them? What community do they have? Do they have put out their white paper that shows what their plan is, their mission is? And then I decide, okay, well, Bitcoin is like established. You put some money in there and just forget about it, right? That's most people do, even though some people trade. And then I look for the others that are coming behind Bitcoin, and I do my deep research and say, all right, cool, let me make a calculated bet on these, and then let's see what happens. So that's and then what I'm also, as I go down the rabbit hole more, I'm learning about people who have made money and who are now becoming de facto investors. They're now investing in other startups that are doing things with the blockchain, whether they're setting up alternate, lending facilities, or they're getting into helping artists to take advantage of the NFT technology, or getting into gaming as well, and AR. So it's just creating a whole new economy.
Let me just say as a disclaimer, we're talking about the technology. We're not giving any investment advice.
No investment advice.
No investment advice. So my regulators are happy.
Yes.
Got to keep the regulators happy.
And they don't come looking for us.
No, they don't come looking for us. Okay, so I want to just put that out there for folks at home.
Absolutely.
But in terms of like some of the ideas that are coming out and the speed to market, I think that's what is making this space so attractive, even for people that are that you wouldn't traditionally see, like folks like us who are taking some elements of it, trying to put a regulated wrapper around it and doing it. But the ideas that are coming out of it and the speed and execution at which they're able to do, it's fascinating. Fascinating stuff.
It is fascinating. It is, and that's technology, and things seem to have sped up more with this blockchain, or maybe because it's at the start, or it's like in some areas it's mainstreaming, but it's an exciting time.
It's very exciting.
It kind of reminds me of of the internet in the late 90s when everybody was going .com. And .com stuff, and it was .com. Now it's blockchain and crypto, So it's an exciting time because it's I'm seeing people experimenting, they're learning, they are investing, they feel empowered because they have, again, access to information, and also they have to be very smart.
And that's essentially what markets are. Yeah. And it's about information, financial information, if you're dealing with traditional products, or information, as you said, you listed off about these cryptos. Yeah. And so I want to talk a little bit about these NFTs and what the heck are those things? I've had one of my advisors in the company. He's like, I'm not paying $300,000 for a photo. I mean, but anyway, let's have that conversation after this break.
Arawak X opens frontier and emerging markets where you can discover innovative companies that have high growth potential. We support initiatives that promote financial inclusion and social justice through equal access to investment opportunities and capital. Come talk to us at Arawak X to learn more about our diverse portfolio.
Okay, so what is with these things? These NFTs,
NFTs are multidimensional. I mean, again, it's really at the essence, in terms of the technology, it's really a smart contract that is on the Ethereum blockchain. That's the essence of it, right?
So let me take a pause there. Smart contract, meaning
I know I went into the lingo a while ago.
Yeah, you did. So a smart contract meaning there's some computer code that executes a contract based on how you program it. That's one part. Right. Ethereum is one of those railways of blockchain. So that's the second part. And then an NFT is a non-fungible token, which just means that it's unique. It's a unique item. Right. And the code protects it in a way that is not possible with a normal file on your computer where you can copy it and then you create a new one. The code kind of says, no, you can't copy this. This can only be this. And that's all of the tech jargon that you need to understand what we're talking about. So, all right,
absolutely. That perfectly done. And so in terms of the NFTs, because there's right now what is popping globally is NFT art. Everybody knows about the Bored Ape Yacht Club.
all those monkeys with the hats
all
on.
Those monkeys. And I was like, first of all, those things are ugly, right? But that's besides the point. Ugly to me, gorgeous to somebody else, right?
Art, and I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
If we're to just look at NFT art and say, fine, this person had put out these unique things. Take, for instance, there's this Jamaican guy called Don Dada. He does augmented reality NFTs, augmented reality art, right? So you can buy it as a regular poster or a painting and use your phone and it pops out at you and you can explore and all that. But he does it as an NFT. And so when you think about it like that, it says, gosh, I'd love to collect that. I'd like to own that. I'd like to be the only one that owns that piece of NFT, augmented reality NFT from Don Dada. And I'm going to spend how much ETH or whatever it is to get it. And I'm going to hold it. And hopefully it grows in value. It's like a collectible.
It's like
we have already.
Like a Pokemon card.
Exactly.
My parents yelled at me for collecting those things as a kid. And then over the pandemic, one of them that I had given away because they said these things will never be worth anything, was
Yeah.
worth like $300,000.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
yeah, thanks, mom and dad. It was one of those kind of moments.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So
And of course, the value of something is determined by what the market says it's
that's
valued
correct.
at.
That's correct.
And so that's a collector culture
Mhm.
behind NFT art. And there's a whole bunch of range of things that we're going to be seeing going forward that, this show doesn't have enough time for us to get dive
Oh
in.
yeah, we're trying to stay high level because like I say, this is a rabbit hole. You can go far down this as you want. Just understand, if you jump down this rabbit hole, your friends and family will think you're crazy. So you just be prepared for that.
Absolutely. But I would say that just for people who are new and are curious about it, one of the people that I follow, Gary Vaynerchuk or Gary
Mhm.
V, he is very good at taking complex issues and synthesizing it for you to understand it in very personal, real
Mhm.
ways. So follow him. He has a lot of stuff on YouTube and Instagram if you're interested in actually learning a bit more about that.
And thank you. And I would add to what you're saying. The whole reason that people are so enamored by this technology is because the internet was really good at sharing things.
Yeah.
And this technology, this NFT technology, kind of makes code one off. So it's a scarcity of that JPEG, that image only exists there on the internet. And it's completely the opposite of what the internet has been used for up until now. And it opens up a lot of possibilities. You're seeing it with the art first, but I know with medical records or even transaction records, or land records, there's a lot of possible use cases that are going to come out of this technology in the future.
Absolutely.
And so like, for me, I find that completely fascinating. It is, it is a fundamental change in the internet.
Yeah, it's a fundamental change, especially because the reason why it's getting a lot of play right now is because it is literally shape-shifting the creator economy and creatives. It's giving creatives another way to make money and make money in a continuous fashion. You know what I mean? They put it out there. You can put in that smart contract technology that is beneath the NFT and say, what, every time this my artwork changes hands, I will make 10% or whatever it is.
Which was never possible in the past.
Which was never possible before. People just simply right click, copy and make off with people's work. Now they can secure, they can make it secure and safe, and of course give them recurring income. So it's really kind of changing the game, and it's allowing people to, because people are in the collecting mood, because people are using digital currencies, crypto, people seem to have a greater propensity to buy and collect. And so there's a lot of money, circulating around. So it's fascinating to observe.
Very fascinating. Very fascinating. Do you have any NFTs?
No, I don't. No, I've been focused. That's this year. I was going to focus on the crypto world and investing in that and investing in getting involved with startups who are in that crypto space.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens with the NFTs this year.
They just valued OpenSea at some ungodly amount of money.
$13 billion US dollars.
Yeah. I know. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Crazy.
I know. I wanted to bring you on so we could talk about these things, give people an insight into it. There is great opportunity there. Nobody knows what it's going to look like in the future. It is in the process of becoming regulated. So, there's a ton of new opportunity, but at the core of it, at the beginning, like how we talked about business, and none of that was about technology. If you miss that core element, that it's about community and people and bringing people and adding value, none of this works. So
none of this works.
Yeah. So
a fundamental shift is happening. So we definitely urge you to go use the time on the internet to learn.
How can people get in contact with you if they want to reach
We're
out?
online. Twitter, Ingrid Riley, Instagram, Ingrid Riley JM, and I'm on LinkedIn as well. And, you know, again, siliconcarib.com. I'm always there.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank
Thank you for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you so much.
So that was Miss Ingrid Riley from Silicon Carib. We'll see you next time.